Hey, what's going on, guys? Archer Mark here, back with another Star Wars action figure review. And if you saw my more recent update slash Hasbro haul video, you saw that this is one of my more recent purchases that I picked up on Hasbro.com. And I said I would be doing a review of this figure, and here it is. So I hope you enjoy this. This is one of 3 figures from that little mini haul that I will be reviewing, all from the vintage collection. This, of course, is the realistic version of the Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker. Kind of an interesting choice. I have had some issues with this sort of like mini sub line. I've expressed that in other videos. We'll get on to that. First of all, the packaging, which is great. We'll go over it real quick. First, again, as usual, the ages 4 and up, the warning, choking hazard logo stickers that have to be on there. You have your Star Wars, the Clone Wars logo, which looks pretty cool with the sort of vintage style to it. I like it. You have Anakin Skywalker's the character name, of course, and this very dynamic action pose of Anakin Skywalker. Obviously, it's Hayden Christensen's face, kind of shopped into this image. The sort of Clone Wars look of his outfit. And of course you see the figure in the bubble, which you'll see loose again in a moment. The Kenner logo. I'll show you on the back. Again, the really awesome A New Hope kind of silver wraparound logo with Luke and Leia. The vintage collection description, which again you can read. Feel free to pause the video if you want to read this again. It hasn't changed. Looks very cool. Celebrate the legendary Star Wars saga that changed the universe forever. A bunch of other figures that are available in the vintage collection line. Many that I have and have reviewed. The Malgus, the Luke, Anakin I'm doing now, of course. These 2 figures. The Navy Commander, which I don't have. The Vader, I believe I have. And then we have some of the Episode 1 line figures, which are still warming shelves as we speak. Rex Harrell I didn't bother with, but all the other figures, I've done reviews on these figures. Then we have the 5 from the Blu-ray deleted scene wave, which are reviews on all these figures. 3 vintage collection vehicles that we've been seeing on the back of these figures for a long time now. We have the Hasbro, StarWars.com, all that stuff. Now, yeah, I've had some issues with this sort of mini set, this mini line of figures, sort of sub line. That's how I've been referring to it anyway. I've expressed this in other videos. I'm not a huge fan of these figures, but I managed to pick them up cheap. I only was concerned with, I've seen reviews on this figure before, and there were some things about the figure, long before I got the figure, back when it first came out, and there were some things about this figure I just didn't like. So I was just interested in getting the figure to keep carded, because again, you can see the image on the card back just looks so great. It looks great on the package. But since I managed to pick these up cheap, the carded version, I got this for about $10, $11, something like that. And on Hasbro.com, I managed to pick up another one for $9.99, as you saw on the haul video. So there are good things about these figures, so I'll go over those, and then I'll get to the things I'm not too crazy about. Okay. Again, they're all nicely sculpted, nicely detailed. It looks fine. It's painted and all that stuff. Great articulation, all that stuff. It's just, again, that there's some flaws which I'll go over. Let me give you Here's a close-up of the facial sculpt. And we'll go down, and you can see again all the Jedi robes and the armor up here and on the shoulders and elbows and the forearms. Not the elbows, the shoulders and forearms rather. Look nice. You have the lower portion of the Jedi robes down here in cloth. Again, this is patterned more after I think the first couple of seasons of the Clone Wars. You have a little more color to his outfit, a little bit of blue, a little bit of this like brownish red, like maroon color. Obviously a little gray up here. Now he's closer to what we see in Episode 3. Where, it's more darker, it's more black. But again, very nicely sculpted, detailed. Hair looks good. The detail in the armor, the detail in the boots, the folds of his pants or trousers. Very well done. It looks great. But this is certain things that bother me. Accessory wise, we'll go over. You have your standard Anakin Skywalker blue lightsaber, nothing we haven't seen before, and you have the unignited lightsaber right here. Again, fairly nicely painted and detailed. Again, nothing too exciting. We've seen it before, but it's nicely done. Okay, let's see what else we have. I like this little paint marking here of the Jedi logo on the shoulder. Maybe hard to get on camera, but it's nice little touch there. Articulation, again, standard at this point for the vintage collection figures. You have the bulge on your neck, bulged shoulders, bulged elbows, swivel wrists, swivel waist, swivel hips, bulged knees, and bulged ankles. One thing, the shoulder armor hinders the movement a little bit, maybe just because the joints are just kind of tight at this point. But you put a little pressure on, you can get it up, and work with it a little bit, and it'll loosen up a little bit. So it like I said, hinders it a little bit, but it's not too bad. I've seen a lot worse. So that is good. Now I'm gonna go the things that I don't like. One, first of all, now I like the cloth lower part of the robe. That's fine, but it just seems like they did maybe too much cloth this time. It's a little too long and looks too much like a skirt. It doesn't look right. And again, I understand the color scheme, this sort of like maroon, red, and blue, but it doesn't work for me. I never liked that. I understand why it's those color, why it's patterned after. I just not a fan of the realistic version of the Clone Wars characters. It just seems odd. One thing that I've had a problem with all the figures is the facial sculpt, and it just looks weird to me. And this was one of the things that I saw in previous reviews that just bothered me. And if I wasn't able to find this figure at such a good price, I would not have picked up a second one. It just looks very odd. It's just like they trying to take a combination of Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin in the movies, and the Clone Wars model, and combined it or something. I don't know. It just looks very odd and strange to me. I think the same thing for the Obi-Wan and the Ahsoka. The Obi-Wan looks the best of the three, definitely. And that's another reason, since I was able to find these at decent prices, and I have the Obi-Wan and the Ahsoka, which I'll show you here. See, there's the Obi-Wan and the Ahsoka, which I've done reviews on these figures as well, which again, if you'd like to check out my channel and look back at those reviews. And I think they will look very cool all standing next to each other, and plus next year I think we're getting a Rex, a Clone Wars realistic version of Rex, so that should be good as well. Again, whether I get that, I don't know. I probably will, just to sort of add to the collection. Another gripe, something that the Ahsoka and the Obi-Wan has, that the Anakin does not is there's no peg hole and there's no peg on the unignited lightsaber. So you cannot put the lightsaber on, you can't put the lightsaber on his belt. I've seen other reviewers where they took the little plastic strap that comes with the figure, which you can see in the packaging is wrapped around the cloth part of the robe to hold that in place. And you could put that around the belt and then slide the lightsaber in between there if you want to do that to hold the lightsaber hilt. So yeah, in general, again, if you find, for me, it was about price, finding it at a decent price. That's why I got it. Plus, since I had the other two, you know, it'll look good with the three. You know, all three lined up together will look very cool. You could sort of pose the three of them together, and they'll look neat like that. For me, not my favorite Anakin figure. Again, the face sculpt just looks weird. I can't put my finger on what it is. It just seems very off to me. And there are other Anakin Skywalker figures that I like better than this. So, you know, many of you are a big fan of these figures, so, you know, I don't want to persuade people from not buying this figure. If you like the figure, if you're interested in getting this figure, then, you know, go for it. Again, for the most part, the sculpt and the paint and the articulation is right on par with any other vintage collection figure. And it's a good figure. But just there are flaws for me that for me it's not a huge fan of this figure, like I said. But that's the point of a review. It's not always going to be glowing and, you know, give the good points and the bad points. And it's my opinion. So, you know, that's not everyone is going to agree. Some may agree with me. Some may not. So, but in any way, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, you know, if you didn't, that's fine as well. Comment, rate, subscribe. I always want to hear your feedback. What are your thoughts? What do you think about these Clone Wars Vintage Collection Realistic Version figures? And as usual, until my next video, may the Force be with you.